My message is clear. Don't harm my city, don't harm my state. Otherwise, you've got to go through me.
High-profile attorney Abbe Lowell is the lawyer representing New York Attorney General Letitia James. He sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi arguing the Department of Justice should reject a request to prosecute James over allegations of mortgage fraud. He says the criminal referral against James is improper political retribution and lacks any credible foundation. In the letter, he said, quote, "The stunning hypocrisy of President Trump's complaint that the Justice Department had been politicized and weaponized against him is laid bare as he and others in his administration are now asking you to undertake the very same practice."
It has to do with the fact that on a power of attorney, I mistakenly indicated that I was a state of Virginia, but prior to that, I had indicated to the mortgage broker that, in fact, in bold cap letters, that I am not a resident of Virginia and never will be.
Letitia James keeps digging a hole for herself, and she won't stop talking, because how can she? But now she made a bad admission that our friend Sam Antar, who's been on the scent on this case for quite some time, has identified, and he issued a response to this claim from Letitia that it was just a mistake, that she signed the form. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. It's like a scrivener's error or something like that. Don't prosecute her. Don't investigate her at all. But we know that's just the tip of the iceberg here. Sam Antar over at whitecollarfraud.com gave us a full breakdown on her lies and just how bad that admission was. Okay, so she just said, I made a mistake, right? I signed the form that way, but I said elsewhere that I didn't intend to do it, use it as my primary residence, and so I'm in the right. It was just a mistake, right? Why is the Attorney General, the highest law enforcement official in the entire state, committing fraud in her mortgage applications? Isn't that harmful to New Yorkers who don't get the same benefits? Aren't you harming New York when you get sweetheart mortgages because you lie about the number of residences in the property that you own so you can get a better deal? Because if you have 5 units, then you can't get that deal. But if you have 4 units, then you qualify for the loan. Isn't that unfair to all of the other New Yorkers? If the golden rule was applied to Tishy and everybody did what Tish did, the entire mortgage market would be FUBAR and nobody would be able to get loans for their homes in New York. So, all right, if we have to remove you, if we have to indict you to remove you because you're not going to admit what you've done here, and you're just going to create excuses about how I signed other paperwork that was correcting the record, blah, blah, well, then we're going to have to just prosecute you and remove you accordingly. From whitecollarfraud.com, giving us an executive summary. And this comes, by the way, from this guy. He's called Sam Antar. Awesome forensic analyst. He's the former CFO of Crazy Eddie. He's a lifelong Democrat, all right? I've got no connection to Trump, he says, his campaign or his legal team. My reporting on Tish began independently based on public records. Anyone can access this. And if you think this is partisan, just read the documents, lefties. Writing here. Now, much political pressure and much of the political press has rushed to defend Tishy, but they aren't even looking at the documents. They accept her blanket denials as gospel and just blame the right wing for it. But here's why this fails. She went and had a breakfast at Association for Better New York. We just saw her speaking there. And then she gave an interview. And she claimed that this is based on retribution. Saying I'm being targeted because I went after Trump. But that's not true at all. Now, as first described in our expose here at White Collar Fraud, we've covered some of his work previously here, so you may have seen this. New York Attorney General Tish executed a power of attorney to purchase 604 Sterling Street, 3-bedroom house in Virginia. She didn't just sign the loan paperwork, though. She jointly acquired the property with her niece, called Shamice. My niece, Shamice. The deed was recorded in both of their names as joint tenants with the rights of survivorship, a form of ownership used when both parties share the same home as co-owners, right? So basically, if Shamice passes away, Tish automatically inherits that right into the property and vice versa. James co-signed the $240,000 purchase and authorized a mortgage for $220,000 through American Neighborhood Mortgage. That mortgage approved and was approved based on her sworn written declaration that she intended to occupy the residence as her principal residence. It is a legal requirement for owner-occupied loan terms for that to happen. Now, this declaration was not boilerplate. It's like, well, it was legally required. It's a mandate in order for the loan, and it became the basis for the underwriting of the owner-occupied lending terms. So you send that into the loan company, and they say, perfect, we need this here, then we're going to process the loan according to these terms and these policies. Turns out that was fake. But then Tish makes the damning admission, admits to the fraud. She said, this investigation to me is nothing more than retribution. It's baseless. It has to do with the fact that a power of attorney on a form, I mistakenly indicated that I was a state of Virginia. Admitted. I mistakenly indicated. Yeah, no one thinks it's a mistake. That was intentional so you could get the loan, obviously. But prior to that, I had indicated to the mortgage broker that, in fact, in bold cap letters, that I'm not a resident of Virginia and I never will be. Got it. So she told the broker something in an email or over coffee and whatever, but in the actual document that you got to fill out and the mortgage company needs in their file in order to go get the loan. Oh no, she done screwed it up. And she admitted that she mistakenly indicated it as such. Now, that admission, he says, destroys Tish's defense. She now acknowledges that she signed a legal document, okay, that was a notarized power of attorney that declared unequivocally her intent to occupy the property as my principal residence, but now suddenly he's turning around claiming it's a mistake. No, it's fraud. She insists the truth lies in a private email that she sent 2 weeks earlier. She sent this email before the mortgage was executed. She says, from Tish to Mike. She said, hey, Mike, guess what? Let me just paper the file, which is what lawyers say all the time. Let me just paper the file. Add a bunch of notes, bunch of emails, bunch of things. This was my intent as you're doing something differently. Says here, by the way, this property will not be my primary residence. It will be Shamice's primary residence. And Shamice is not going to get those same terms because she's the niece, Shamice. And we need a copy of the appraisal report as well. So Tish is helping out. But here's the problem, all right? That email wasn't a part of the official mortgage file. The power of attorney was. And in real estate law, what matters is not the emails. It's the signed, notarized, and recorded document, not unfiled disclaimer that she sent to her broker 2 weeks earlier. Said the power of attorney was never used, she said at the breakfast, to determine my eligibility for a mortgage for my niece for a home in the state of Virginia. That's not what was used. Nope, that's false. The mortgage was executed using the very power of attorney that she's referencing. It wasn't a side document. It was literally filed with the deed and the mortgage. It's in the paperwork. And it served as the legal basis for the closing on the property. It contained the declaration that Tish intended to make 604 Sterling her principal residence, which is a key eligibility requirement for owner-occupied loan terms provided by American National Acceptance Mortgage Company. Right there. I hereby declare that I intend to occupy this property as my principal residence. And the undersigned is Letitia James. I hereby declare. Signed it, notarized it, recorded it. James didn't simply just check the wrong box. No, she signed a sworn declaration under penalty of perjury and then made the admission that she did it and it was just a mistake. She never corrected it. She now admits she never intended to live there at all. But that only underscores the problem. If she never intended to move, she lied in writing to secure the mortgage that she wasn't eligible for. It's intent. If that's true, the sworn statement she signed on 23 was false. That's not politics. That's mortgage fraud. Tish. And she admitted it. Oh, it was a mistake. You signed it mistakenly. You can't read. That's way more fraudulent than anything she alleged Trump did. And so Trump talked about this. He was asked about this in the White House from some reporter, and here's what that sounded like.
Letitia James, Director Polte, according to him, Letitia James says that the alleged mortgage fraud was simply a mistake. I want to get your thoughts on that. She put down that her father was her husband in order, and this is very similar to, I guess, the false and kind.
Letitia James, who's the Attorney General of New York State, it seemed, I'm not involved in that at all. I know that it's being handled by various groups, I guess, but it's major fraud. Mortgage documents and fraudulent everything. You know, I think she said the father was her husband, which she had to have a husband, so she chose her father, and she put it down, and she said, and didn't she sign in Virginia? Yet she said she lived in Virginia, yet she's the New York State Attorney General. She did that for tax reasons, so she could take advantage of taxes. And she had the wrong number of units. She had a much different number, which wouldn't have allowed her to qualify and scam the government. So I don't know. I think she's very bad for New York, but I really don't know too much about it, but I appreciate the question.
Now, her projection in her prosecutions has become her confession. We can see that she's the person who's committing the fraud, not the president.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.